Good morning, everybody. It's 6:30 a.m. in Sydney today, and I'm here to come up with a tutorial for you. So as you can see, we are going to create an artwork which is completely based on the interactive mouse gestures. So depending on the movement that you set it up for the mouse, you get endless patterns. And you can see it is so immersive, so creative, and so fulfilling that for every gesture that you create, it actually has an impact and it creates wonderful patterns. So one of my objective all the time is to create something which is so pleasing for the mind, and which is what I always try and do. And this is one of the creation, and you would see like how simple it is and how creative it is that you can have something as a part of your interactive installation. So this is definitely the main objective of today's tutorial, and you would see how easy it is to create this entire piece of work. All right, first thing first, let's clear the canvas. Now, in order to create this gesture, in order to create these gestures, you definitely need a mouse, right? So let's start with chop and let's get mouse in. So in mouse in, you pretty much get X and Y position, right? So let's use a select. So a select will be just to select the TX. So and then we use TY. Okay, now the important thing that you need to understand is we are going to use a square as a part of our output. So we need to just ensure that our position is just coming in the square box. So we will be using math just to ensure that the values that we have been getting as a part of our mouse gesture are within the control limit. But for now, we're not going to make any changes to math. We will get to the render network, and then we will decide what values can be applied. And the values that we are going to apply is going to be in the range. So we just want to ensure that we set up the range in such a way that it becomes within the site that we are looking at. And as you can see, this is the TX is going from -1 to +1, and TY is going from minus 0.6 to minus 0.6. So that's the range that we have to work on, but we'll see how we go with that. Okay, now the next thing that I do is I have to get merge. So we get merge and I get TX and TY. Now you could be thinking that why did I use math 1 and math 2, but we'll use it later on. And then what I'm going to use is I'm going to use trail, and trail is going to play an important role. Now window length has been set up as 4. Let's make it as 20 for now. Then I'll be using feedback. So let's get feedback, and once the feedback is in, then let's use math. What we're going to do is we're going to add all of them together. So it's a perfect setup that we are looking at for ourselves, right? Now let's go and get null added, and then let's get this into a chop 2. So as you can see, my output is already turning out to be perfect, right? Now let's try and visualize how well the values are coming up. Okay, so this is how, as you can see, every movement that I'm making, I'm actually getting the trail of it, right? And again, now this trail can be very much set up. So currently it's 20 seconds, which is definitely long, but I can set it up as 4 seconds. So as you can see, 4 seconds is also big. Let's make it as 2 seconds. So as and when I'm making a move, it's turning out to be perfect. Okay, now let's get this into a null. Once this is a null, let's get comp and let's get the geometry. Let's get camera added, done. And then we can have a material, and in this we can have line as a material, and we can set it up as a line. Now one thing that you may want to do is go to line and okay, so let's change those attributes later on. Let's get our render network set up first. So we have render, then we'll have null is null, then I'll use level, then again I'll use null, then I'll use feedback, then I'll have level, then I'll have composite, and then I would have another level, or maybe null for now, and we can decide later on. So yeah, or I can just have RGB key. Done. So this looks perfect. Now let's set up things in a most appropriate way. So done, this looks good. I forgot to add a transform, so let's add transform as well. So there you go. Then let's have this. The operation is going to be add. Let's set up the feedback network, which is all perfect. Let's try and visualize how the things are coming up. Okay, this is pretty impressive, and which is what I was looking at. Now what we really want to do is we want to set render as 1024 by 1024, so that gives me a square look. Now pixel format you'd see is 8-bit. Let's make it as 32-bit. Okay, and now let's have a keyboard in to reset the feedback. All right, so this is reset. Now you'd notice that although we have a trail set up for 2 seconds, but still the trail is visible here. It's because the level has not been set properly. The opacity is considered as 1. Now let's reduce it down to 9.5, and now you'll be able to see very soon, it all disappears. You can actually set it up 0.9 as well. So let's set 0.9 and done. Now again, we'll see that opacity going down a little bit. So we can go with around 7. So let's see how quick it is. It's still not that quick. Yeah, it is actually. It can work. Okay, so this is good. Now what we really want to do is, so this is all good. It is working absolutely fine. Now let's try to find out. Okay, this is not working. So even if I go top, and if I go down, it still has a little bit of space here, which I need to look after. So I don't need to work on TX. I just have to work on TY, and which is where my math is going to come. So in TY math, what I really need to do is, when it is going into -6, it is just coming down here. So let's go to my length. And first what we do is we set the range as, so where are we going here? We're going -6.4. So this is the bottomest point, and let's go up, that's -6, right? So sorry, so it's -0.64 to +0.6. Done. And now you can see the range has been set up. Now what we really want to do is we want to ensure that it is going to so when it is -6.4, it should go to -0.64, and if it is 0.6, let's go to 0.6. Okay, it's still not going. So now we know that there is a little bit of increment that we want to set up. So instead of -6.4, let's make it as -7.4, and let's see. Okay, it's coming down. That's good. So now let's increase a little bit. Let's make it as -0.84. Okay, it's coming a little better. Now instead of 8.4, let's make it as 1, -1 altogether. And let's see whether, okay, perfect. So that's the value that we were looking at. Now, is it doing the same thing up? No, it's not doing. So we still have to set things up there. So now maybe here it is -1. Let's make it as +1. Let's see how well the output is coming. Okay, that's beautiful, and that's what I was actually looking at. So now we have perfect situation, and as you can see, it's working absolutely fine. Okay, so that's something I wanted to get around. Now the other thing is the trail has been set up as 2 seconds. You can make it as 1 second, so it's going to be that quick, and it's going to look absolutely stunning. Okay, and in chop 2, this would be the error message that you'd be getting. TZ is not found, but you can just ignore it. There's no problem at all about that. Now what we really want to do is we want to set colors as well, right? So for colors, what I generally do is I go with noise, and this noise I'll set it up as 1 by 1. So that's good enough. I'll remove monochrome, so it has colored one. Let's go to transform ABS time dot seconds into 0.1. So as you can see, now it has started to change colors. Let's apply it here. Okay, so the colors can be applied here. So the line color, the linear color. So we can get the values out. So we can make it as this. So we're converting noise top into a chop, and we can use these values to set the colors there. So chop reference, green goes to green value, and blue goes to the blue cell. Perfect. So it's all looking wonderful, right? Okay, now we just want to set up our feedback network. So in order to set up feedback network properly, we are going to play around with 2 key important things. And those key important things are the translate and the rotate. Okay, so let's go and let's go with a scale first. Okay, so instead of 0.1, let's make it as 0.95. And now you can see it's already starting to give good output. Okay, now I'll be using LFO to set the rotation value. Now this rotation is going to be from 150, and so offset is 150, and the amplitude that I'm setting it up as 10. The frequency that I'm going to set it up is not 1, but it's going to be 0.1 for now. So I just want to make it very slow so it doesn't look very jittery. But again, you know, all of these values can be set it up later on depending on how you really want your output to look like. So it's already doing magic, and you can see it's looking pretty impressive, right? Now this is definitely one thing that I wanted to do. The other important thing that you definitely have in your hand is let's increase the level so that output that we witness turns out to be very sharp, bright. So here you can see brightness is around. Let's increase the brightness. So now you can see the brightness is turning out to be better. The other thing that you definitely have an option that we have already added is level here. So as soon as the rendering is happening, we are getting into a level and increase the brightness here as well. So instead of 1, you can make it as 2. So it will still look much better. Okay, so that is something you definitely have in your hand. Okay, the other option that you always have to play around is you can work on your translate. So in order to work on a translate, I'm again going to use LFO, and this LFO is going to be a key important thing. So I'll be using 2 LFOs basically. So LFO 1 and 2 for TX and TY position, but this position has to be determined in a precise way. So instead of amplitude as 1, I am going to set it up as 0.02 for TX. So I will be changing this chan1 into TX, and let's change this into TY. Okay, Now instead of okay, yeah, so for ty, instead of 1, let's make it as 0.03. The frequency, I am going to set it up as 0.1 for now, for both of them. And now let's get the output of both and set it up in tx and ty so that we get to see the difference. Yeah, it's looking pretty impressive. So as you can see, while we are doing things, you can actually see the output. Now the other thing that you may want to do is the scale has been set up as 0.95. Let's increase it to 0.98. And now you can see the output coming out to be much better. And this is like the endless patterns that you create out of it. The last thing that you need to do is, you see extend as 0, you can make it as repeat. So as soon as you do repeat, you'll see whenever the cursor is going out of the transform box, you still get an output coming out. So instead of repeat, you could also do a mirror. So mirror will give you some different look. So yeah, this is definitely something which can be done. The other thing that you may want to try and do is you can play around with the camera position. Currently it is set it up as 5. Let's increase it to 6 or 7, and now you can see how well the outputs are popping up. So as and when you go beyond your output, you can actually play around. So this is camera that you can try and play around with. You can make it as 5, back to where it was. The second thing that you may want to do is you can try with math. So instead of -1, you can make it as -1.1 and 1.1, and you can see how well the outputs are popping. So this is something you definitely can give a try. Again, the possibilities are absolutely endless, but you can see how with every mouse gesture you see some different outputs coming around. The second thing that you may want to do is you can play around with trail. Instead of 1 second, you can make it as 2 seconds, so your trails are going to be longer, and you'll see outputs for a longer period of time. The second thing that you may want to do is, the other thing that you may want to give a try is the rotation. Currently the rotation has been set as 150 and the frequency has been set up as 0.1. You can make it as 160 and you would see a different variety altogether. So in my video that I had uploaded on Instagram and YouTube, my values were always from 150 to 170, and because that gives a pretty good output. Now again, you have lots and lots of things to explore. You can have you can create your own version. So this is something that I definitely wanted to bring it to you. Yeah, so the other thing that I really want to bring out to all of you is so this is my channel. I just wanted to let you know that you can follow me, you can subscribe to me. I would really like to listen to your comments, your feedbacks, anything and everything that you guys have in your mind. I would be more than happy to listen to that. It really brings a lot of smile. It brings satisfaction that at least somewhere in the corner of the world somebody's looking at my tutorials and learning really good stuff. So I would really appreciate if you guys can put down your comments, your thought processes, or any suggestions that you guys have for next tutorial. The other thing I want to bring it out to you is the Patreon page. Your support will be appreciated a lot. You can anything and everything that you could do, or you can subscribe, will be appreciated a lot. It makes a huge difference for me. And as you can see, there are a lot of creations that I make for my Patreons. Your inputs will be valuable, your subscriptions will be valuable, and every penny that I earn from Patreon is actually going in the research purpose for various tutorials that I create on Touchdesigner. Currently, I've got 32 Patreons. I look forward to 100 Patreons this year. Would be amazing, you know. Without your support, that's not gonna be possible. So, anyways, I hope you have had a very good time learning this Touchdesigner artwork, which is completely amazing. And yeah. I'm looking forward to your responses and your creation to see it. Whenever you do it, feel free to tag me on Instagram or message me on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you on that. Well, thank you so much. And this is Monday morning in Sydney, and I wish you a wonderful week to go with. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Bye.